Hello there, and thank you very much indeed for allowing me into your home to speak to you. I'd also like to thank Luminate for asking me to be part of this programme where different artists, myself included, are making little films and asking people to get creative and do a little bit of work, a little bit of expression, a little bit of creativity in their home. It's really good, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself first, what I do, where I come from, and then I'll move on to basically, talk about perhaps a little bit of work we can do that I'll suggest to you at this time. Great. So as I said, my name is Stuart Paterson. I've worked as a poet full time now for a number of years. I work in schools, the community. I also work for Luminate and going into homes to work with residents to urge them to get creative, tell stories, write poems, tell me about their lives, that kind of thing. It's really, really brilliant. And yeah, I've been doing that for, as I said, a number of years. I used to work as the BBC Scotland poet in residence. And was on various programmes like Off the Ball and Kay Adams and Janice Forsyth in the afternoon, etc., etc. So, and I've also had several books published. People are always asking me for proof of that. So there you go. There's some of my books that I've had published down the years. I think it's important for me to tell you that I write in two languages. I write in English, which is the language I'm speaking to you in just now. But I also write and speak in what I consider to be my first language, which is Scots. I grew up speaking Scots. I continue to write in Scots and English, and perform and teach Scots as well. To me, it's an everyday part of my life. It doesn't mean to say that everybody does it, but people that want to do it should be able to do it. And I really, really encourage that. And I really enjoy hearing my language, the Scots language, spoken by people as widely as possible. So yeah, a little bit about myself again. I grew up in Ayrshire, in a town called Kilmarnock. That's my football team. Don't hold that against me. We're not that bad. And yeah, basically a normal life. Went to school, grew up in my family, left, did various jobs, and then always wrote poetry though, then became a poet full time later on. And it really is a tremendous job. I get to work with all sorts of people from all different ages, from really young to people who are a bit older, right across society. And it's an absolute privilege for me to do that. I was inspired, I suppose, to begin writing poetry by my mum. You can see her in a couple of the photographs behind me there. Her name's Mima. Mima is 90 now, but she's still very, very active, very supportive, and we talk to each other every day on the telephone. And I think a little bit of what we do today, that I'm going to ask you to do, involves basically what me and my mum do, but on a maybe slightly bigger scale. And at this time, it is maybe a bit difficult for people who want to keep in touch with other people and who miss people. And how do you go about making that possible, that you can get past that? So we're going to talk a little bit about that and how we can do something maybe to let your family know that you're still there, that you're still thinking about them, and that, yeah, you can do something for them as well. So I'll move on to that just in a minute. And it is a difficult time sometimes for people, and especially now when we're not able to see our families and the loved ones as much as we like. But we're pretty lucky, aren't we? You're pretty lucky we've got this thing here in front of us to keep in touch. The internet, emails, mobile phones, apps, all sorts of stuff that we didn't have when I was growing up. We just had the hard work of writing things on a bit of paper, putting them in an envelope, sticking them on a stamp, and flinging them into the postbox. Nowadays, it's so much better and so much easier to keep in touch with people. And this is how I keep in touch with my mum a lot of the time. She might be 90, but she's got Skype. She sends emails. She reads my emails. She tells me stories. I let her know my stories and what we've done. And I think it's really important that, that we keep in touch with people, especially at this time when people get, it can be really difficult and you can get a bit lonely and wanting for company. And I think it's not just me that feels that. My mum feels that. Your family will feel that as well. And I think I'd like to suggest that you do something that maybe makes them miss you a bit less and almost makes them think that, well, you're in the room with them there. And that is to maybe do a bit of writing, make a wee film, and let them know something about yourself. I think I call this kind of exercise, well, a postcard. Postcards are things we used to send with stamps, as I said, with writing and stuff like that. But now we can send postcards of ourselves, of us, our faces, speaking up close, moving, talking, and actually almost in the room. And I think that's a tremendous thing. And what I'd like you to think about now is if you're going to send a postcard to somebody of you, a postcard of yourself, I'd like you to include part of yourself very much in that postcard and to have a think maybe for the next wee while about what you can put into that. And what I'd like to suggest is that you think back to last week, last year, maybe a long time ago, who knows? Think about a time and a place and people where you felt really, really happy and that mattered a lot to you, that's really, really important to you. In other words, your story. Part of your story. Our whole lives are made up of lots and lots and lots and lots of stories. But I'd like you to think of one story that you can tell your family about something which means a lot to you. Something that is yours. Something that perhaps they don't know about you. Or perhaps they do know about you, but they don't know enough about. And it might involve them. But it has to involve you because you were there and you might be the only person that saw this thing or to whom it happened. So please, have a think about that. And you won't need much. You won't need maybe paper. You can maybe get somebody to help you write it down. I think that's a good thing. Or you can write it yourself, or you can just film yourself saying it and use it as a postcard of you, as I say. And it doesn't have to be filmed. It could be written. And this is something that I think I'd like you to put as much of yourself and what happened as possible into it. Make it a really, really important thing. And imagine you or your family and you're watching you or reading you telling this. What would you want to hear? What would you want to know? You'd want to know everything. And you'd want to see everything about you. And for somebody that you miss and that you don't see just now anywhere near as much as you want as much of them with you as possible. And that's what I'd like you to think about. Examples of this, well, there are quite a few, I think. I think about things that are important to me, and times that are important to me, people that I miss, places that I miss, places that I've been, times that I've been through, that have been amazing, and that I'd love to think about again and love to let other people know about. And I think about your favourite places, perhaps, that you've been and you'd like to go back to, that you'd like to remember. For instance, a favourite place that you went for a walk, that you visited, or perhaps that you went on a holiday with somebody else, a time, that was only between you guys, or only for you yourself. Think about that as almost a postcard on its own, as a picture. Describe it in detail. Describe how you felt, how it made you feel. Describe what you saw, the colours, the feeling on your skin maybe, the smells, the sights. All that sort of stuff is important to paint a picture, to make a postcard of a time and a place that really, really meant something to you. I think back to times that I spent in the garden with my dad, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. But when I think about those times and when I tell them to people, it's almost like writing a postcard. I can write a poem about it, or I can write a story about it. But I want people to know as much about those times and those particular instances as I possibly can. And to do that, I've got to use everything that happened and everything that's in my mind just to let you know how much it means to me, but also exactly what it was like, when it was, what we were doing, what we were talking about, just particular things that made it a very, very special time for me. And the same will apply to yourself. Like, for instance, it might be the first time that you came across somebody, or that you met somebody, or you might have met somebody famous, or you might have been somewhere or visited somewhere really, really unusual. These are things that will only happen to you. Let us know about them. Let us know what they meant to you, and let us know all the details about them that made it so special to you. These details also include a lot of words, language, because that's how we communicate. Words, speaking, writing. And as I said earlier to you, I grew up basically, Scots was my first language, and I use a lot of Scots words and Scottish words in my writing still and in everyday speech. Please, please, please don't worry about spelling or grammar or any of that when if you're writing it down, or if you're getting somebody to write for you. Especially when it comes to Scots, just write it as you say it. If you want to say something was really great, say it's bra. If it wasn't very big, say it was wee. Don't say yes, say aye. And you might talk about your ma as opposed to your mum or your mother. And your dad might be your father or your pa. Scots words are great. Please feel free to use the ones that you use in everyday language, because stories are everyday language, and poems as well. And if you'd like to make this into a poem, please feel free. A story can still be a poem, and a poem can be a story. It's about you and something that's very much happened to you, and that's part of your life, and that's personal to you. And your language is personal to you as well. And sometimes in families, there might be words that aren't used except within that family. Special words, words that mean something to a very few people and to you. Let's share your stories with your families, those that you don't see very often just now, but also in your friends, and also the people who care for you. They're important. They're very important. Speak to them. Ask them for help if you need them, if they're there. And tell them your stories, and ask to hear their stories as well, and their poems and their songs. It's how we get to know each other, through sharing this kind of thing. I think it's really, really important. And how you tell it is completely up to you. But it's you, and it's your postcard to the world, and to your family, and to your pals, and to your carers, and to yourself. So let's remember it, and let's remember you, because only you can write it. And we really, really want to hear it, and read it, and see it. Right, I'm going to give you a couple of my own stories now, because it's only fair that I join in, isn't it? Asking you to do stuff and not doing it myself, we can't have that. And these are a couple of my stories about things that mean a lot to me. And they're poems, but as I said, poems can be stories, very much so. And the first one is about something that's in my family, that has been for a while, and I've done a bit of it myself. Tatty Howkin. And this is a poem about the tatties, and it's called Spud. From soil to boil, to fry, to bake, from land to hand, to truck, to box, to ship, to shop, to plate, you taught the lot. Trounce neeps, batter, cabbage, kale, carrots, onions, beets, king and queen of all the crops, muck-faced potentate, Our Lady of the pale carbohydrates, tuberous muse of nation, maker of empires, breaker of backs. Spin and howk and fling them in the basket, stretch and bend and howk and fling and bend and howk 1,000 times, and then again, 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 again. Each day a year it felt, to hand and bone and spine, thinned brittle from the bending over, the long shift lasting dawn to dusk, each cold October. But truth to tell, you offer no resistance, scrub up well, aren't sickened by the long roads, lorries, boats, the massive distances mapped out by you around the globe. You are compliant and come easily. You are no tarty, flirty, flimsy piece of fragile fruit. You're hard, you're tough, you're the very stuff of life, whose roots go far past dirt and mud, and into almost every one of us who pick you, Spud. And my last wee poem, my story, my piece of myself, my postcard to you and to everybody, is about my own mum, Mima. But it could be about anybody's mum, and I think it is, really. So this is called My Wee Mammy, and it's in Scots. I hope you enjoy it. My wee mammy is the bravest wee mammy. She doesna grate her whinge when her leg gets gammy. She just gets to work with a duster or a chamois. My wee mammy is the bravest wee mammy. And my wee mother is the hardiest wee mother, and a stushy or a barney. She'll no stop or swither, she'll tell you what's what, and she'll clap your heads together. My wee mother is the hardiest wee mother. And my wee maw is the smartest wee maw. She kens just about a thing, but there's no way she's a blaw. Her heed's in a book, and what she doesna ken's hee-haw. My wee maw is the smartest wee maw. And my wee mammy is the smashingest wee mammy. I'm telling you, I'm lucky, pure fortuitous and jammy, that my maw, my mother, mammy, is the very cat's pyjamas. And if you say och different, then we're gonna have a rammy. My wee mammy is the best wee mammy in the world. And so is yours. I look forward to seeing you again, but I hope you enjoy your writing, and I hope you can get us a postcard down to send to as many people as possible. Thank you.